In last week's episode, we ripped out the back of the van, including the base floor and all the side panels. We then gave it a really good sweep out and a thorough clean, so we had a nice blank canvas. Whilst doing that, we did find some rust spots which we then treated, and then we applied sound deadening to the floor, walls and ceiling. Good morning guys, hope you're all well. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to New Zealand on another beautiful day. Today we're going to be installing that solar panel on that van roof. Let's get on with it. So yes, the day has come. We're actually putting solar on top of the van roof in an attempt to make a self-efficient off-grid camper, at least for a couple, 2-3 days. But yeah, we've got one solar panel. It's 1700 long, 1100 wide, so we can only fit one of those on with the fan that we plan to have on the roof as well. But this is a 450 watt solar panel which has got a maximum output of 580 watts. Now it's bifacial, so the sun shines on the front, it creates electricity, but also if it gets any reflections to the rear, it will also create electricity from there as well. However, with the method in which we're mounting it, that's not going to happen. So there are various different ways in mounting solar panels. You can use various different solar brackets. You can use uni-strut, for example. Some people mount them to a roof rack, but we're not having a roof rack. And then there also are plastic ABS corner supports, which you just bond to the roof. Now they seem a really good solution because you don't have to drill them through the roof and penetrate the roof and run the risk of leaks and stuff. But do I trust some form of bonding just to hold a solar panel on the roof, especially if you're doing 60 miles an hour down the motorway or the highway? Yeah, I just don't really trust that, so that's not really an option for me. So what we are going to do, we are just going to go for a humble L bracket, which I've put some preparation into beforehand to secure these to the roof. Now these are my L brackets, so I've bought more than I think I probably need. I'm going to use 6 I think, but I bought 8, but I could only get them in a plain metal finish. I couldn't find black ones, so what I've done over the course of the last few days is actually spray them with some paint. As you can see, that was the original colour. Spray them with some paint so that they actually match the solar panel when they're secured on the roof. Now nobody other than me is actually going to know these are black, but it's an OCD thing. I've also sprayed the bolts that are going to secure the brackets through the roof, so again they all match. So the plan is to drill through the side of the solar panel, about there on that line, with 2 holes, and then mount it using the bracket, 2 nuts and bolts like that. And we're going to put 3 of those along each edge, so 6 in total, and I feel like that should be more than sufficient to secure it in place. Now this panel comes with 1 male, 1 female MC4 connector, which is about 1 metre in length, but that's not going to be sufficient to get through into the interior of the van for now. So what I've done is bought these EcoFlow extension 3.5 metre extension cables, which I'm going to use to extend the cables so that we can get them down into the van straight away. They're then going to go through the van roof using this little glam plate. They're going to go through there, and then the hole will be under here, and this will be bonded in place and perfectly watertight. So the first thing we're going to do is going to measure length, and then we want to find the centre, because we want to put the first bracket in the centre and then the other 2 an equal length from the edges. So 1760. What's 1760 divided by 2? 880. 880. So let's mark 880 each side. 880 there. Don't buy this tape measure, it's rubbish. It flexes and rubbish. Right, so 880 is centre of the panel, so that's where we're going to put 2 of the brackets. Now we've just got to decide how far we want to put them along. So on the edges, Don't really want them too far from the edge, so maybe 150. 150. If only you could, like they did, touch and feel and smell TV. Like, wow, you should feel the heat radiating off of that. It is absolutely roasting. But right, now what we're going to do, where we've put our centimetre mark, 15 centimetre mark, what we're going to do is bring that bracket to there, that edge, mark it, drill these 2 holes, and that's where we're going to bolt through with the bolts. And yes, I did buy black bolts to bolt through. OCD. Right, there we go. Let's show you what we've done. So there we go, bracket, 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 and the same the other side. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pick this up, put it on top of the van, get it nice and square, and then mark out where the holes are going to be coming through. But it's warm out there, better put your hat on. I'm going to burn the old head. Squashed by a solar panel. We're up. We're not falling off at least. So here we are. We want to get it centre and then make sure all the feet are nice and flat. What we're going to do is we're going to go around, mark all them holes, and then do the bit where there's no return, i.e. drill the holes in the roof. I can hear people in the comments going, don't drill holes in the roof, it's the risk of a leak, you run the risk of getting leaks. But I have got something I'm going to do to that to try and prevent it. I will prevent it, it's definitely not going to leak, so yeah. So as you can see now, we've got the solar panel nice and square, and I'm happy with where the brackets fall in terms of drilling the holes. But what I wanted to just show you is the brackets give it a little gap underneath, and it's important to leave an air gap underneath a solar panel to allow airflow and to let heat disperse. But I didn't want a too big a gap to allow lots of wind to get underneath, because obviously then that's more force on the fixing points. So yeah, I wanted to leave a little air gap, which we've got, but not too much that the wind could cause an issue. So that is why I positioned it like that at that height, and that was planned when I bought those little brackets. So yeah, never noticed that dent, but it is what it is, nobody can see it. So yeah, we're going to get on drilling the holes and then get this thing fixed down. Oh wow, don't want to get in there. It's got no insulation in here yet, but it's like a Chinese sweatshop, like an apple factory. Anyway, we've cut the holes. You can see there, there, and there through my sound deadening, and there, there, and there. Right, now what we're going to do is, to protect my bolts, a nice painted end, I've put some masking tape around them, so hopefully that doesn't pull the paint off, but I wanted to protect them anyway because I've gone to the effort of painting them. So now what I'm going to do is put that down through that hole, get one of these rubber gaskets I've made up, put it on there, not push it all the way up, but I'm going to go all the way along, these three, do all three, then once I've got all three in position, I've got my silicone ready to go, we'll bosh the silicone in and tighten it down. Right, so slight change of plan. I realised, because it's so hot, I was probably going to need to get one side on first to stop the silicone drying out and then do the other side. So I've actually done that side and now I'm just on to this side. But to be perfectly honest, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to film it because it was a bit of a rush with the silicone going off and stuff like that. So here we go. We're all done. It's all secured down. The silicone's just going off. But I've tidied it all up and it's all bolted down in place. So there's only one last thing to do. See what it looks like from the air. So now we've got the panel secured in place and you've seen it from above. What do you think? Do you think the bog standard L brackets is a way that you would go with regards to mounting the panel? Would you have used another solar mounting system? Would you have used a roof rack? Would you have used the plastic ABS mountings which just bond to the roof? Let me know down in the comments. This is a method that I decided to go for because I didn't want it to be too raised up off the roof, but enough for an airflow to go underneath to cool it. And I'm quite happy with the way it's come out. It's absolutely solid. So yeah, hopefully there's no leaks, but we're probably going to run over with another bead of silicone in the next few days once this lot's all gone off, just to double check. Silicone again underneath and see how we get on. But what's next? Well, we're going to bring the MC4 connectors out here, use the extension leads that we've got to extend them and probably run them along this guttering to a point where we go down in through the roof. And what we're going to use is this, what I showed you earlier, with two compression glands or stuffing glands that we call them in the UK. That'll be bonded to the roof like that. So for example there, the cables will come along in through those. These are IP 68, I hope. They should be IP 68. If they're not, I'll change them for IP 68 ones because we need them to be watertight. And then we'll bond that to the roof, and then these will come down ready to go into our inverter or whatever we choose to, the method we choose to power the van. Which, let me come inside and I'll talk to you about that. Now if you watch YouTube and camper builds and stuff like that, there are various systems that you can install within your van to power it and for the solar to replenish. One of those is a Victron system, which is one system I was looking at, but for a decent amount of power, battery storage, inverter and all that sort of stuff, you're looking at about 7,500 New Zealand dollars, which I would imagine probably works out about 4,000 English pounds, which is a lot of money. But what I am planning on doing, having done some research, is to have one of the EcoFlow power stations within the back of the van. The solar will plug into an EcoFlow power solar plug, and that plugs directly into the back of the power station, something like the Delta 2 Max, for example, which has got a massive battery and very powerful to power most things in a van. So that's how I'm intending to do it. The advantage of that, in my eyes, is that there's one small unit, which, you know, it's probably 1.5 feet by 1.5 feet maybe, and everything is inside that. Your inverter, your batteries, everything is inside that. So it's just one unit which is portable, so you can take it out of the van if you want and use it elsewhere, but it can be replenished off solar, it can be replenished off 240 volts, and you can add additional batteries to it should you want to. Not only that, I feel that it's a lot more simple. It takes up a lot less room than these big solar systems, these big power systems, and it's just a lot more straightforward and a lot more simple. So why wouldn't you do it? So yeah, let me know what you think about the that idea. Now I'm going to head inside to go and get a drink because I'm absolutely gasping. Might treat myself to a little ice lolly because I've not eaten breakfast or lunch. But we will resume this tomorrow. See you then. Good morning, welcome back. It's been a couple of days. We've had some life admin to do. and then we've had some complications with regards to this. So people sell these as compatible with solar installations, where you put your strings through here, your positive negative goes through down through the roof. But the one thing they don't tell you is that they are 20mm stuffing glands. Now if you've got MC4 connectors already connected to your cables instead of bare ends, there's no way they're going through. So what I've had to do is, I had 2 of these, but what I've had to do is modify them. So if I bring you in, what I've had to do is swap out the 20mm stuffing glands, or compression glands as they're also known, and put 25mm in, which is a very, very tight squeeze, as you can see. But if you cut the holes, or make the holes larger with a cone cutter in the right place, you can get them in. So, and also what I've had to do is fashion another seal inside the compression gland, because this cable is too small for a 25mm gland. So I've had to fashion together a rubber seal in there, so that goes inside the standard 25mm compression gland or stuffing gland seal, which will then hold this in place and make this watertight once these are tightened down. So now we've got this made up, it should work pretty well. So what we've got to do is drill through the roof of the van, we've got to bond this into position to make sure it's watertight, and then we've got to connect these ends to these ends of the solar panel, and then the bare ends will be down in the van ready to be connected to whatever electrical system we go for. So it should work pretty well now. So something else that should work pretty well on this system is this solar panel. So one of the reasons I went for it is because it apparently should work pretty well in lower light conditions. So it's a monocrystalline solar panel, and it has a high purity of silicon and the use of N-type dopants, which enhances electron mobility apparently, which results in higher efficiency, particularly in low light conditions. So yeah, that's one of the reasons I went for this solar panel. And to be honest, when you live in a country where the Maori name means the land of a long white cloud, it's probably quite good that we got one that works in lower light conditions. So here we are in the van. This is where our strings come through, and what I'm going to do is thread them out of here into this box section and run them down to where the access panel is for the rear lights, and then in this garage area, which is going to be underneath our bed, there's going to be our electrical system, whether it's an EcoFlow Delta 2 Max or something else, I don't know, but that's our strings in position now. So just a quick disclaimer, if you are going to do this, well, firstly, this is not a how-to video. I'm not showing you how to do it, I'm just showing you how I've done it. But if you are going to do it yourself, make sure you get cables with MC4 connectors on it, because even on a day like this, when it's overcast, but the sun is there, that panel on the roof will be creating electricity. And if you have bare ends on these plugs, you will get an electric shock from them. So just be very, very careful. If you are going to do it, then be careful. Make sure you get the right equipment. Make sure you know what you're doing. But yeah, just a disclaimer, this is not a how-to video, and anything you decide to do, you take on the risk yourself. Just leaves one more job for us to do. Two. There we go. And all we've got to do now is secure them in place, lose this length, but whilst our silicone goes off down below, we'll leave them as they are. Now let's head back up on the top of the van to show you what it's like now I've finished everything off. So that's back on now. I've stuck a bit of silicone in there just to make sure those stuffing glands are completely watertight. That's bonded on there, lovely and strong. And what I've done is cable tied the solar strings along there, through the bodywork, and then to there, so they're all nice and neat. Well, that is what it looks like from up here. And from down here, I had a touch of the seconds. Because what I did initially was put a very small washer on there and then the nut and tightened it down. And then I thought to myself, what happens if the wind gets underneath it and the force on it? Is it going to pull the M10 nuts and bolt through the bodywork, through the 8mm hole that I've drilled, and then rip the solar panel off as I'm driving along? So I had a touch of the seconds. So what I have done is got some nice M10 square brackets and then put them on there and tightened them right down, and then re-siliconed around the holes, just to hopefully guarantee that no water is going to leak. So that's what it looks like now. So yeah, I'm a lot happier with a bigger bolt or a bigger washer like that. So that's what we did. And the last thing I want to do is to test this panel to make sure it's functioning properly and I'm getting voltage down these two strings. So what I'm going to do, use my Mega voltage tester, put it on volts, and then swap it to DC because it's currently on AC, and obviously this is a DC current. And then we want to test between positive and negative. So let me just bring you in a little bit closer. So no voltage at the moment, and our open circuit voltage for this panel should be 39.5 volts. So we've got 36.6 as you can see, but if you look at the cloud outside, it's fairly cloudy, so we haven't got bright sunshine. Even with that, this solar panel is producing voltage at 36.6 volts, and that will fluctuate depending on the sunshine and stuff, but even with the overcast sky, that is the open circuit voltage that we're getting from this panel. So what that tells me is the panel's working absolutely fine, these strings are absolutely fine, and all we're waiting for is our power station now, or our electrical system to plug these into to start creating electricity. We've pretty much come to the end of this installation of the solar panel on the roof and the end of this video. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching. I hope you liked it. Please consider subscribing to the channel, liking the video, commenting on the comments what you think of the installation, and yeah, we'll see you next time. From both of us, bye for now.